be alive in this land of ours. Good to drive in this land of ours.
Hello, Canada hockey fans in the United States.
The Hockey Time Machine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hockey Time Machine. I'm Glenn Dreyfus. When you think about great hockey coaches, Scotty Bowman comes to mind, Toe Blake, Punch Imlach, Al Arbour, just to name a few. Here's one that deserves to be added to your list. Anatoly Tarasov. He's known as the father of Russian hockey, and for good reason. Starting in the 1940s, he basically built the game from scratch in the Soviet Union, and along the way collected 3 Olympic gold medals and a basket full of European and world championships. Our friend Alex Braverman spoke recently about Coach Tarasov with his grandson, Alexei, who is also president of the Russian youth hockey tournament known as Golden Puck. Here's that conversation.
Vladislav Tretiak said once in the opening lines of to his book, he said, some people irreplaceable. Pelé, Michael Jordan, Gordie Howe. God gave them incredible talent, and they were able to realize their potential. Anatoly Tarasov is one of them. That's what Tretiak wrote.
If I'm right, he scored 100 goals, or maybe 101 goal. I don't remember, but it wasn't in 100 games, because the first championship was not so long. It was there were only maybe 12 or 14 teams at that moment. So I don't know how many games they played, but for sure less than 100. So he was a good scorer, but he had great partners, and but he was not an outstanding player. He was a good player, and well, it was his fortune that he developed himself into a coach, because he understood the game as a player. There was no professional coaches, no coaches like a job. So some players began to be coaching players or something like that. And he was a person like that. He was a playing coach at the beginning. And then after a few years, when he stopped playing, he became a coach as we understand it today.
Yeah, with chemistry on the ice with Vsevolod Bobrov, it's not always work off the ice. And some people said it started back in 1947 when Stalin was, Vasily Stalin was curator of the team, WWS team, and he decided to replace your grandfather and to give the job to his favorite player, which was Bobrov. What do you think about this? And was Anatoly ever angry with government officials?
You know, this is the eternal story. Because even now, and I think not only in this country, but in yours, the same thing, the owners or the bosses, they try to teach team coaches or team leaders or team managers what to do and how to play and who should play, who should not, the tactics and all that stuff. And I guess Anatoly, from the very first years of coaching and working in this sport, he was very confident in himself, and he was. I think he had a great respect to the game, and he never let himself to be led by amateurs. Amateurs, even if they were bosses or they had power to decide who will be the coach or how it will be. So that was the roots of conflict between him and Vasily Stalin, because he was passionate for sports. I mean, Stalin's son. And it was natural, and it is natural for a person who is passionate trying to do it his way. And Anatoly had a conflicts about how to play hockey in this case. And he said, well, he wrote in some of his books that he couldn't continue with someone teaching him what to do with ice hockey. And that was, I think, the main reason. And we should say that Vasily Stalin was smart enough and kind enough, and it had no consequences, even if we pronounce this surname, which is a little bit scary. So he left this, it was in Russian VVS team, which is a team of Soviet military Air Force, yes. And for good luck, it was Red Army. Another team formed at that moment, which was the Red Army, or CSKA, which you present today.
That's for you.
Thank you. So that was the reason he moved out, and then conflict with Bobrov was now it's a little bit like a story for a movie, because everyone who remembers those times, they try to explain this rivalry between Bobrov and Tarasov. We lived in the same building, the same block, and I know for sure that they always had great respect for each other. They were no friends of heart, maybe, because athletes rarely become, because they had this because they were rivals on the ice. So, or even if you play for the same team, you always try to be better than your teammate. My grandfather always told that Bobrov was great as a player. He was really outstanding, because for me, for example, it's very remarkable that he played on both hands, for example, because at the time the sticks were not curved, and he played on the left, on the right. It was the same for him, and he was great scorer, but he was not let's say was not Tarasov's player, because he was very ambitious, and he liked to score very, very much. and he never gave passes, and for him it was important to score himself. And as we know, the basis maybe of Anatoly's philosophy as a hockey play was a collective play. So it was against his rules, and he never was able to force Vsevolod Bobrov to do what he wanted him to do, because he was a scorer, and he was famous, he was a superstar, and it was very difficult to deal with, because they were quite the same age, and Bobrov was more famous at that time. He was a superstar, and Tarasov was a good player, one of best players, but he wasn't a great coach yet. So that was their difference. Bobrov, great player, and Tarasov, great coach. I think they both had great respect for each other, and all the rest are fairy tales.
Yeah, and this brings us to 1960s when your grandfather became coach of national team again. This time is in tandem with Chernyshov, and
Thursday is today, Chernyshov.
Chernyshov. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? This tandem bring 9 championship in the 60s, 2 Olympic goals, medals. What do you know about this tandem, and what you can tell us about?
I know that maybe it was a very interesting combination between calm and very well educated and well behaving Chernyshov was like a noble man, in my view, and with passion and fire of Tarasov. And they say that my grandfather was responsible more for training process, for some emotional part of the game, and Chernyshov was game leading on the bench always. But then I know that they were not very close, but friends, and they met outside the ice, and they were each other guests at home, and so it was a good relationship, and very nice that it was combined like this, because maybe my grandfather was sometimes too hot to deal with when it was necessary to deal with authorities of sports and political authorities. He sometimes could be not too polite, and Arkady Chernyshov was more politically he was more let's say more adapted to deal with powers, and so they managed in this tandem. They managed to keep passion in locker room and on the ice rink, and be good and
and accomplish a lot.
Yeah.
And dealing with political aspect, I don't know if all North American fans know about, but it was a famous match or game back in 1969 when your grandfather took the team away from the game and let them sit in the locker room, even if the game was present by Leonid Brezhnev at this point, and he didn't like the goal. I mean,
Mhm.
your grandfather didn't like the goal which was disallowed and stopped the game.
So the rival team scored at right at the brink of this intermission, and at the clock, which is at the stadium, big clock, it was yet 1 second left. So, on my grandfather's opinion, it was a good goal, and it was all right. But the referee, who was, by the way, Karandin, who afterwards became the member or even the president of international referee, what is this, committee or something. And he said that on his hand watch or whatever, the time is out. So the goal is not good. And it was very strange situation, because we can imagine it now when it's all synchronized. And at that time, he was very angry. He was upset, and he said that we won't continue the game at this rules that you establish by like this. General Secretary was present at the game, and he was smoking there openly his cigarette, right, sitting in the box. And the story tells that they were absent maybe for 37 minutes or something, and only when some messenger from Minister of Defense came into the locker room. And you know that Red Army and CSKA is a team that belongs to the army. And my grandfather was a colonel, and all the players were lieutenants, and they had some grade. And the man came from Minister of Defense, and they said, Colonel Tarasov, we order you to continue the game. It's an order. It's not a request or something like that. And he said, well, I am military, and I have to obey. And that's how it continued. My aunt Tatiana says, remembers this very often, because she was present at the game. And she said it was very scary when they went out after the game to sit in my grandfather's car with her friend to go home. It was the crowd surrounding them, and people were very angry at him. And it was like, maybe, I don't know, some thousands of people who came out of the stadium, and they were all very angry. And she says it was a very scary moment. And afterwards, after maybe 2 or 3 days, he was the sports authorities took from him not all, but his decoration of honored coach, or something. What is it in English? Заслуженный тренер.
Yeah.
And at that very moment, Tatiana, my aunt, says that it was the only time that she saw her father crying, because I understand that at the game he couldn't act the other way. He realized that maybe it was the end of his career, because because of General Secretary, all that. This was quite an unimaginable act in Soviet Union, that you make this move in presence of all the state authorities. And he was very, very upset, but I know that Chernyshev helped him in this situation because the sports authorities didn't want to send him to nominate him as a head coach of national team anymore, and they said he won't go out of the country; he stays here. But Chernyshev said that if he doesn't go, I don't go, and maybe he helped him with this, and after maybe 6 months, it was all back.
Yeah,
and he
and
returned to national team.
yeah, and this brings us to 1972 when where they
He signed.
won again another gold at the Olympic Games, and after that they were released from coaching position. And one of the excuses was, he was coach for 24 years. He's probably tired of doing this. And I know it was just an excuse. What do you know about that? What do you think
now when, for example, I am 52 and he was 56 at that moment. 54.
54, yeah.
Yeah, he was 54. And I understand that that's a good age to be head coach. It's not the end. Some people start their coaching career maybe about this age at some levels. And I know that the story was also political, let's say, because it was after a story in Czechoslovakia, which was 1968, and Soviet Union had a difficult relationship with Czechs, and at that time the Olympic medals, the Olympic tournament was not like now with playoffs. It was a round robin system, and so Soviets were becoming champions before the last match. They became Olympic champions. They earned medals before the last turn. And from Moscow arrived a wish or order or suggestion to lose against Czechs. So they were becoming second or third.
Silver.
And Americans third. So this was like a pre-decided game. And I know that it was absolutely impossible to imagine Tarasov sell the game even if Soviet government was buying it. And so they played as they play, and they won the last game. And so Czechs moved down and the Americans move up after this the last game played. And maybe in combination with those previous stories about his conflicts, it was too much for Soviet sports authorities to keep him inside this in this position. And again, Chernyshev, as I know, said he won't stay alone because they were together for 10 years or something, and they won everything. And well, that's how it happened on my information. They would like to stay, but it was not on their power.
And of course, this because of this, he couldn't go to Super Series, which is happened right after in September. And Bobrov was acting as a coach of this series, and many people now thinking what would happen if your grandfather was a coach, and do you think he could win this, at least one of the 3 games in Moscow at the end? What do you think?
Well, we all know that the story has no this if maybe something happened which not happened, but well, I think yes, I think he could motivate his guys to make this final effort, and it was okay. But what should Canadians do in that situation? If they were Tarasov who won everything, that's impossible.
Yeah, it's hard to predict what would happen, but the story is, Canadian won this series. And that brings us to another event which your father went to see as a witness, which was a Canada Cup in '81. I understand he was there, was accompanied by and he was allowed to go to the dressing room and talk to the players and gave some advices, but he wasn't a coach. What he told you about Tikhonov and about his victory, how he feel about that? Was it jealousy or proud?
Well, I think it was maybe both, because on one hand he was proud of his national or his team to win, and on the other hand, it was not jealousy, but they had, as I understand, with the respect they showed to each other with Tikhonov, maybe he had some regrets, but because in fact Tikhonov took his place when he was expelled. It's not that he left his place by himself and Tikhonov took it. It was it was not Tikhonov's fault, but many people consider that maybe some sustainable part of victories of Viktor Vasilievich are in part based on the players and basement that was laid by Tarasov and Chernyshov in previous decades.
And back in end of 80s, your grandfather helped Slava Fetisov to get back in form after he was expelled from ice, and because he showcased his desire to go to NHL, he wasn't allowed to go and practice with a team. So I understand it was off-ice practice at your dacha or your summer house. And what do you think motivate him? Just something to do, or his challenge of the system, which turned on him once, or he just want to help Slava to become better?
I think he was very much dedicated to the game of hockey, and he did everything he could do to develop it in every form. And then Slava was, and he is a great guy. So maybe they met when Slava was a little boy, when he was in Red Army School of Hockey, because my grandfather, every week, it was like a job, a part of his job. He visited the trainings of small children, all ages, and just to see how it works. And at that time, if we remember, the coaches of Red Army School were all ex-great players. And so his pupils, Tarasov's pupils, were teaching small kids, and he was controlling it. So maybe he knew Slava and from the very beginning. And I remember these moments when Slava came to our dacha, and really, because Tarasov was master of training, and he invented some drills with things we can imagine, like what today is used, maybe all these tires, some strange thing. He found training drills with everything he could find around him: trees, stones, steps, maybe some garden.
Poses.
Yeah,
Poses.
everything. Yeah. So that was important because for Slava, because Slava maybe was not in his best form at the moment, and for one hand, because he was expelled from ice for some time. Then it was important for him to train himself, because he had to catch up with the others and maybe go further. And it's very nice story when he came to old coach to give him some special drills and some special techniques that he could use maybe in his house or everywhere, just to be a better player, because he was not a young guy when he left for United States.
Everybody knows Anatoly as a tough coach and demanding coach to the players. He had his own standards and always was harsh on them. How was he in the family, around his kids and around you as a grandson?
Well, I never suffered anything like his players on the ice. But first of all, I would say that I speak with many of his players, and they don't. They say that Tarasov's trainings were tough, but it was not, let's say, not. I don't like the word humiliating, but it was always fun, because he invented something. He said that you should never come to training with the drills of yesterday. He invented. It was fun for them also, not only difficult and hard to do, but it was interesting. And for me, for example, I remember, and all my schoolmates, when we came to Dacha just to spend the weekend, we always were subject to some work in the yard. But it was always fun, because he invented something interesting. It was like training, like his training. It was never the same thing. So he was not tough at home, but we have to remember my grandmother Nina, who had a great respect to his to what he was doing, and he managed to create this atmosphere of respect when he was writing, when he was preparing to his games. No one, my mother and my aunt, they never disturbed him when he needed to be quiet. And well, he was very well organized at home. I remember that he woke up maybe at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock every morning, and he wrote and he made his notes. And when we woke up at Dacha, maybe, well, he woke us up maybe at 9 o'clock, and he had breakfast ready and everything, because he didn't understand how could we sleep so long. Time is running, and he was well, this schedule maniac, I would say, because he told me a story about his coach, his own coach, his teacher Tovarovsky at maybe it was 40, 45, 46, or maybe even before the Great War. And he made him to invent a way to lace his shoes in a way that one shouldn't lose time to lace it every day. Because he said, Anatoly, you lace your shoes, you spend 5 minutes a day with lacing your shoes. Now, tomorrow, bring me the way to minimize this time, because if you multiply these 5 minutes to the days you're gonna live, you spend 2 months on lacing your shoes. You could do something more important. And he was very productive in this sense, because nowadays when I'm ruling this Golden Park organization, which like a junior league, amateur league, we have maybe about 100,000 players around Russia, and we make like 30 tournaments a year, different, because they are different ages, different time zones, and many different tournaments. And he was ahead of this when he was head coach of Red Army, when he was head coach of national team, when he was there was some kind of championship of military forces also in the Soviet Union in hockey. And he was also president of Golden Park. And I meet people all over the country who says that we met Tarasov over there, over here. He decorated me with a gold medal of Golden Park in 1969, for example. And I don't understand how he did all that, because I'm not the coach of national team. I'm not coach of Red Army. I'm not doing anything but this, and I don't have time. And he did all these things simultaneously. That's incredible. And he wrote books, and that's very well organized man.
As we know, he had 2 daughters, and your mother was a teacher in school, and he called your mother the poor one in the family, and Tatiana was a rich one because she was a golden coach in figure skating. But his dream was always to have a son. Did he endorse you as a son? Did he push you into the hockey game? What was his influence on you growing up?
Well, first of all, Tatiana was his son in the beginning. Because she did all that he wanted his son to do. So he forced her first he forced her to do all gymnastics and all that stuff, and finally she moved to figure skating, and she has success. For me, it's strange. It was maybe not the right moment to move me to ice hockey, because I was going to Red Army hockey school when I was 6, but it lasted maybe 3 months, I guess. And unfortunately now no one can tell me what was the reason I left. Then I was playing in my when I was living in open ice rink next to my home, and he was some year maybe he was a coach of our Golden Puck team where we lived. It was great fun, and the many people who was living next door were coming to see Tarasov coaching kids. in his blog.
You're now president of Golden Park, which you mentioned about. So your grandfather, what he started a long time ago, it's still alive, and we can hear the story, and maybe more people will know about your grandfather.
I don't think the most important is the number of gold medals they won, because it's only statistics, and even it's difficult to reproduce these numbers in modern times. I think the most important is that his approach to coaching methods and developing young players, and his impact on dryland trainings and on ice trainings and all that stuff is very important. And I know that in the United States, for example, it's used and it's requested, and there is an interest to his methods more than to his records. And as we continue this direction, I think the very important of his heritage is this Golden Puck movement, or organization that continues to be alive, because it's very important to give to young children who don't have maybe resources or ability to pay for ice hockey, which is very expensive, and we all know. I think that the main idea of Golden Puck, that we should give the opportunity to try to realize themselves in ice hockey. It doesn't matter who you will be after. You can be a worker or pilot or driver or manager, whatever. But you always will remember that the Golden Puck, which taught you to be friends, to be a team, to fight and to win and to lose sometimes, give you this direction to your adult life.
Our thanks to Alexei Tarasov and also to Alex Braverman. We thank you very much for watching Hockey Time Machine. If you like the program, click the like button, click the subscribe button. Anytime you see a button, click it. And for those of you going to the after party, we'll see you there. For everyone else, thanks so much for joining us on Hockey Time Machine.